Hey everybody, this is Brian here. We're going to be talking about epilepsy today, and I wanted to remind you guys to take an interest in yourself and in your own illnesses if you have them. Um, so let's get straight to it. I first wanted to start out with not to let tests or surgical procedures be performed on you when they have off-putting side effects or a bad feeling just because you feel like, oh, well, the doctor must always be right. The doctor's not always right. In fact, a lot of the times, the doctors, their motivations are actually informed by big pharma and which companies sponsor their hospitals. I won't name any names, obviously, or any particular controversial opinions, but I just want you to know that doctors are not always innocent nor right at all. Okay. Um, okay. And number two on here is to not be treated like a child when you're not one. You're chances are if you're watching this right now, you're an adult and you deserve to be treated like one, not to be talked down to like a 7-year old. Number three on here is to try to research your own conditions and not to give up and acquiesce to a feeling of hopelessness. Uh, Look into the internet, for example, for useful diagnostic symptoms or information on cures. I think that you should trust your instincts also because they're probably right a lot more than you give them credit for. Number four on here, I think. I actually might have said number four already. Nevertheless, that doesn't really matter. Let's get to it. Number four on here is that the important thing here is not to feel like a lab rat in your own case by feeling helpless and to be the captain of your own ship. Sometimes doctors will bounce you around between different prescriptions that may have rougher side effects than benefits. I got put on anti-epileptic medications when I first got sick that actually made me gain like 75 pounds, and I was actually having like, well, just a lot of other really, really brutal side effects. Some of it I don't even really want to talk about. Anyways, number five on here is going to be another really big tip in taking an interest in yourself, which is to look at those medications and how they may interact with your existing health conditions if you have diabetes or if you have other prescriptions that you're currently on. So look how those things might work out with those other things. Look at how those things might interact, so to speak. Okay, let's get to number six on here, which is that there are a lot of sponsorships and business partnerships between big pharma and the medical establishments like hospitals. I know I already said this, but I really wanted to re-emphasize this. And I'll give a story. I was sad as a patient when I first checked in because I was diagnosed with epilepsy at 22. I was sad as a patient to learn that the things that were given to me by the doctors were all from one company that had signed a deal with them, almost like a sponsorship. I think that just remember that the doctors are not innocent and their decisions are in fact informed by things that might make you shake your head a little bit. Um, I just wanted to remind you guys not to lose hope or a feeling of being part of the decision when medical appointments come. Just don't give up because that whole thing progresses and it leads to isolation and sitting behind curtains and depression and stuff. But if you keep a feeling of being a active participant in your own plight, then those things will not progress. They'll actually regress in a good way. uh, you know you'll become more more of a you'll sorry about this. I actually had a seizure yesterday. I'm having one right now. But I just wanted to remind you guys not to lose the feeling of hope or of being an active participant when medical appointments come, you know. Remember, I love all of you because you are you. Remember, though, that the most important thing here is that you love yourself and that you love you because you're you, regardless of if doctors are cold or if they have plastic smiles or if big pharma is kind of corrupt, you know, the pharmaceutical industry. Um, I won't recommend or talk against particular drugs or treatments because everything works differently. And you know, it's okay sometimes to get assistance. Some of us need caretakers if you're like in a wheelchair, for example, or if you have constant seizures like I do. I actually have a caretaker, you know. But I just wanted you guys to remember that none of those things uh, really are the equivalent of the false equivalency that you should not participate in your own case, and that you should just let yourself become kind of like a lab rat or an experimental animal that they try out different surgical procedures and medications on and different testing procedures. It's it's just not worth it. Trust yourself, trust your own instincts. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. I'm out.